we're going to cover today are: one, what is the Introduction to Aviation Maintenance Technology class? What will be covered? Two, we want you to learn more about the aviation maintenance program at South Seattle College, because part of our goal, thank you, Ola, part of our goal is to help you bridge to the aviation maintenance program, which is a 2-year program at South Seattle College, for those of you who are interested in doing that. And then 3, just want to touch base on the next steps. If you do want to enroll in the Introduction to Aviation Maintenance class, which is free, what are those next steps? And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Sean and Adela to begin our information session. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sean Cargill. I'm an instructor at South Seattle College. I'm an aircraft mechanic. I'm an alumni of the program. I worked in the industry for about 7 years before coming back to teach. I'm joined by Adela. You want to introduce yourself, Adela?
Hi, my name's Adela Sines, and I've been teaching over at South for about 20 years now. I started out teaching a lot of different things, and including math. And so that's my passion. I love to teach math in a way that makes sense to students. And so that's my role here in this program. I'll be teaching you math.
A little bit about the Intro to Aviation Maintenance class here at Port Jobs. It's designed, it's an 11-week class held through winter quarter. It's designed to prepare students for the 2-year program at South Seattle College. The 2-year program prepares people to, gives everybody all the training and the experience they need to pass the FAA exams and to get a certificate for aircraft maintenance and to get a job in the industry. This Intro to Aviation Maintenance class is designed to prepare you for that 2-year program. It will be held remotely. We might have 1 or 2 in-person sessions, including a field trip to the college. We'll definitely do a field trip to the college at a minimum, so you can see the hangar, see the facilities, see the engines and the tools that we work with, so that you know what you're preparing for, what you're going into. When you take this Intro to Aviation Maintenance class, you will be enrolled in South Seattle College. You will be a student of the college. You'll have all the resources available to South Seattle College students. It begins January 5th, which is a Tuesday, and runs through March 23rd. It's held Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So 2 days a week, 2 hours on both Tuesdays and Thursdays, so a total of 4 hours a week, plus some online work. So we would expect you to do some work outside of class, reading, studying, doing some study work on your own. Adela will have office hours on Wednesdays, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, she'll have open Zoom office hours on Wednesdays, so you could meet with her to go over anything that we discussed in class that maybe is a hang up for you, that you would need a little bit more work on. We want to give you every opportunity to brush up on all the skills that you're going to need to be successful in the AMT program at South. All right, next slide. Any questions about that so far? Okay, next slide. So in the Intro to AMT class, in the next 11 weeks, we will talk a little bit more about the AMT program at South, about what you're going to learn in each of the different classes, what's going to be expected of you, how things work on a day-to-day basis. We'll talk a little bit about the aviation maintenance industry, what's going to be expected of you when you go to work on aircraft. We'll talk about the FAA testing process. There are several tests that you need to go through, several phases of evaluation. You'll need to pass them all to get your certificate. We'll focus mainly on math, making sure everybody's math skills are up to speed. The reason we're doing this Intro to Aviation Maintenance class is for a couple of reasons. One is to let people decide, give some information, let people decide whether or not it's something they really want to do before they commit to the full 2-year program. And it's also based on results of student turnover at the college itself. Through the 2-year program, we saw a lot of people, out of the people who struggle with the basics, with math basics. So we're going to spend a lot of time on getting everybody's skills up to snuff. Some people have covered this a lot, or at some point in their lives, but it could have been 10, 20, 30 years ago, maybe. I know for me, when I joined the program, it had been a while since I'd even thought about any of the math stuff, and it took a day or two for it to all come back. So we'll spend some time on getting everybody's math skills refreshed, so that it's not a sticking point when you get into the program. It's one less thing you'll need to worry about, because you're going to have a lot of information thrown at you. It's a full 2-year program, 8 quarters, 9 weeks of full Monday through Friday, 6-hour days. It's 17 credits. It's a lot of information thrown at you every quarter. And the last thing you want to be struggling with is trying to remember your times tables on top of everything else you need to learn. We'll also talk a little bit about documents, manuals, the type of reading that you're going to be expected to do, some of the forms you'll need to fill out, and we might, given time permitting, we'll spend a little bit of time on tools and measurement. Next slide. Some of the benefits of going through the Intro to Aviation class through airport jobs. You'll notice all these pictures that you're seeing. These are all from the previous Intro to AMT class. So some of these pictures were taken at South Seattle College. Some were taken at Delta Airlines when we took a field trip over there. Some of the benefits of the class is you'll receive assistance with applying for financial aid through FAFSA, through the federal government, and through WorkSource. As a student of the college, you'll have all the resources available as far as financial aid, tutoring, paying for tools, paying for tests, paying for books, paying for transportation if needed. And then you'll also receive resources for helping you get a job when you complete the program. There are resources available to help you fill out your resume and practice interviews. Graduates of this, or people who complete this class at the end of 11 weeks will receive a $1,000 scholarship to put toward tuition or books provided by Alaska Airlines. And completing this course will give you a solid foundation of the knowledge you'll need to succeed in the AMT program. It'll give you a running start so that you'll know what's expected of you beginning day 1 of AMT 111, which is the first class that you're going to take in the AMT program. Next slide. All right, this is, let's pause this a minute. I want to intro this a little bit. Okay, so this video is going to talk a little bit about an internship between South Seattle College and Delta Airlines. I don't know when the next internship is going to be available, but it's usually open to students in their 4th quarter or later. So by the time you get into your 4th quarter, halfway through the program, this internship should be available to you. It is pretty competitive. Delta Airlines only opens up, I think, 4 spots, either every year or every 6 months, depending on how on their need for help in the shop. But it's a really good opportunity. It gives you some on-the-job experience, so you'll be able to go to class either in the morning or in the evening, and then in your off hours when you're not in class, you'll be able to go do the internship, work 3/4 of a shift at Delta Airlines, and shadow the mechanics. And they put you to work. They don't just sit there and let you watch. They expect you to put on your coveralls, put on your hat, and turn a wrench with the mechanics to get some stuff done to turn the airplanes around. So it's a really, really good on-the-job experience if you're able to take advantage of it. All right, let's go ahead and watch the video. It also talks a little bit about the South Seattle program itself.
I think we have the best intern program in the system right now. Certainly the most successful.
What I'm looking forward to with the Delta internship is learning as much hands-on experience as I can.
The intern with Delta was like the icing on the cake. Delta internship is a very cool thing and kind of the only thing like it.
So they learn a lot of all-around skills while they're going through the program. Instructors here are really experienced instructors. We definitely teach a lot of technical skills while in the classroom, but outside the classroom, they get a lot of other training to get prepared to finding jobs and making sure that they know how to keep that job after they find it. This is the first program that actually had an internship to Delta. It's a huge deal for the program, and we always strive to be the best program in the country.
Creating the next generation of line maintenance technician is something that is very germane to our industry. In fact, Delta is uniquely set up to do this. The opportunity we give these students is awesome.
But when you come here after class and actually work with the mechanics for half the night, then you really get to see what they actually do and what the job really is.
I don't know anywhere else where you could get a lot of exposure to all the different areas of line maintenance in a real short amount of time. So,
and we'll do things like moving the wings, moving flight controls, changing tires, doing blade loops, taking the fan blades out and moving them, and all sorts of things. And it was quite interesting, and it grasped my attention very quickly, and I realized this is what I want to do. They give you the sense that you're a part of the family while you're there, and it's a really good feeling. The school was very good at giving us an opportunity to find out about the industry, and through the school club, the Association for Women in Aviation Maintenance, we brought in a lot of guest speakers, brought in folks like Mike Heigler from Delta, and it was a great experience. They treated me really well and did everything they could to expose me to the whole gamut of aircraft maintenance. The internship program just threw me right out there in the field, and I found that I was right where I wanted to be.
it is really difficult to get your foot in the door. I know that students that have gone through this program, even though maybe they've gotten done with the program and Delta wasn't hiring at the time, they immediately got employed.
And that is why you should come south. I mean, you're not going to get a better opportunity elsewhere.
Oh, God. I'm so excited. Yeah.
It's been nothing but great. South Seattle is definitely the place to go because they give you all the opportunities and all the tools to get to these jobs that pay well.
All right. So a little bit about the college itself, located in West Seattle on 16th Avenue, just up the hill from East Marginal Way and the Duwamish River. We have 3 hangars on campus with aircraft and engines inside that you get to work on, take the engines apart, put them back together, take the flight controls off the aircraft, put them back together, crawl around inside, look at all the systems, learn about the systems, explain them back. We have an electronics lab for studying electricity. We have a hydraulics lab for studying all the hydraulic physics and how hydraulic systems work. We even have a hangar down at Boeing Field with aircraft, about a dozen aircraft inside it that you get to push out, turn the engines on, turn them on. They all work. And so whenever we go down to the Boeing hangar, we treat it like a day at the airport, like you're an aircraft mechanic. You get to push the airplanes out and service them and keep those airplanes properly maintained. We even have a small classroom space down there for some of the advanced classes, the 215 and the 235, the advanced airframe and the advanced power plant. You'll be able to go down there and spend some time down there at the Boeing Field hangar working on those airplanes. The South Seattle College itself is a very diverse student body. And as a student of the college, you'll have access to all the student clubs, student government, student resources, tutoring center, the library, bookstore, whenever that gets opened up again. And any other, academic advising and counseling to help you plan your classes out for the next 2 years. You'll work study opportunities, workforce, and work source to help with funding and job placement. So you'll have access to all those resources as a student of South Seattle College and the Intro to AMT class. Next slide. Okay, so here's a little bit of a breakdown of the 2-year program at South. So after the Intro to AMT class, after this quarter, or after winter quarter, when you start in the spring or fall in AMT 111, it's a 2-year program. It's Monday through Friday, either 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. We run in a morning class and an evening class. So depending on your work-life balance, depending on your work schedule, on what works best for you, you've got some options there. And everybody there is going to school full-time and working full-time. I did it. Most of the students there are doing the same boat. It's a commitment and it's a sacrifice, but it's worth it in the long run. Even though it's 2 years, it goes by pretty darn quick. I mean, I was surprised when I went through how fast 2 years flew by. It's a grind while you're in it, but you're happy to be done with it, and you've got something to show for it at the end of it. After two full years, you'll have you can have a Associates of Applied Science degree or an Associate of Applied Science transfer degree, which you can take to other colleges or universities to continue your education. And you'll have a certificate as an aircraft mechanic, which doesn't expire. It's good for life. Any questions about this, about the schedule for the 2-year program itself? Okay, moving on. Here's a little bit of a breakdown of about how those 2 years will get broken down into each individual quarter. So everybody starts with AMT 111. This is the first basic science for aviation. This is the first class. There will usually be about 35 students in your class. That's pretty big, but it gets whittled down over time. And you're going to be with that same cohort through the whole program. So the students you start with in AMT 111, most of them are going to be with you at the end of 2 years. So 111 is the introductory class. That's where they talk about how things work at the college, how things work in our program. They explain the FAA requirements for the training and the training expectations. There's it's a review of math. They talk about science, a little bit of electricity, a lot of tools, aircraft parts, names of things, all the different types of manuals and documents that you're going to use. It's an introduction to a lot of very basic things, and then the program itself will build on all of those as you go through the program. So it's designed to be comprehensive. So everything you learn in 111, you're going to use it when you go into 112, which is basic electricity, and it's a whole quarter just spent on electrical theory, learning about how electricity works, learning about wiring diagrams, the tools for working with electrical circuits. And then you'll take all of that and go either into the airframe side of things, which is these three quarters on the left, 113, 214, 215. Those are the airframe classes where you're working on everything inside the fuselage, all the structure, the wings, landing gear, hydraulics, oxygen systems, fuel systems, electrical systems, pneumatic control systems, pressurization, oxygen generation, ice and rain protection, instruments, radios, navigation. We learn all about that stuff. Cables, cable ringing, safety wire, tools, hardware, and how to fix it all. Not just how it all works, but also how to maintain it and keep it and fix it properly. After you finish the airframe side of things, after you complete 5 quarters, after 215, you will be eligible to take your first round of exams to earn your airframe mechanic certificate. After you get your airframe certificate, you can start on the power plant side of things, which is the engines. And we've got a whole hangar full of engines, which you take apart, put back together, you push them outside, you turn them on, make sure everything works, nothing leaks. So you learn about engine overhaul, fuel systems, ignition systems, oil systems, inspection, remove and install, ice and rain protection, fire systems, all that kind of stuff. And then here in the middle, there are a couple of extra classes which you'll need to take if you want your Associate of Applied Science degree, but these can be taken in conjunction with, or at the same time you're taking some of the other classes. We have academic counselors available to help you schedule that, to help work that into your 2-year program so that you don't have to stay an extra quarter or 2 or 3 just to complete your associate's degree, because a lot of people won't do that. Most people, when they finish their 235 class and they've got all 8 quarters done, they got their certificate, they're out looking for a job. But what we try to do is encourage people to work on their Associate of Applied Science degree at the same time they're doing all of this, because that makes you more marketable. It takes all the 2 years of experience and puts it on a little piece of paper, which you can take as 2 years of college credit to other places. If you just complete the 8 quarters and go somewhere like Embry-Riddle, they just count it as electives. You might get 1 or 2 quarters worth of elective credit for 2 years of training. But if you have a transfer degree, that'll count as a whole 2 years of education. So if you plan on continuing your education later, I strongly encourage you to get your Associate of Applied Science transfer degree, which is just 1 or 2. It's just a little bit more education in between your regular aviation maintenance classwork, but it's worth it in the long run. And again, we have counselors on campus. We have a dedicated academic counselor who can help you plan all that stuff. So it's not something you need to figure out on your own. We've got resources to help you do that. Next slide. Okay. So a little just a few notes about what the industry is looking like. Even though the aviation industry is in a slump right now due to COVID-19, they're already forecasting things to pick up within a year. So they're expecting a pretty fast recovery. There are all the 737 MAX airplanes on the ground, which have been approved for return to service. So they are all going to get delivered within the next year or 2. So the number of aircraft around the world is still increasing, and the number of mechanics around the world is decreasing, and is going to decrease significantly over the next few years as many mechanics retire. So there's still a demand, and there is an increasing demand for aircraft maintenance technicians. And there's pay as an incentive to go along with that. It's a very well-paying job. You can make starting pay can be anywhere between $28 and $35 an hour, depending on where you start. If you want to go work for a big airline, you're going to be well compensated. If you go to work for general aviation, it doesn't pay as well, but you can live off of it. You can live off of it. And there's pros and cons to different aspects of the industry. The nice thing about this industry is there are so many different ways you can use your certificate, you can use your experience. You don't just have to go work for a big airline working on line maintenance. You can go to work for a general aviation company. You can go work for corporate aviation. You can go work for military contractors. There are military contracts which pay really well. You need a little bit of experience to do that, but there are jobs open. And if you want to go work for helicopters, helicopter operators, either down in Eastern Washington or Oregon. There are big helicopter operators down in Oregon that fight the wildfires every year. They're always looking for mechanics to work on the helicopters. If you want to go to Hawaii, Hawaiian Airlines is always hiring, and there are a lot of helicopter operators in Hawaii with all the sightseeing companies. They're always looking for mechanics. There are a lot of companies that do repair of components and heavy inspection and overhaul. If you want to go work for ATS up in Everett, that's another good experience. Get a lot of good experience working on a bunch of different airplanes, working at a major overhaul facility. So there are a lot of opportunities available. And there are opportunities outside of the aviation industry. So when I was going to school, one of the students in my class never intended to be an aircraft mechanic. He wanted to go work for Puget Sound Energy to go work on the hydroelectric dams. So he went to school, did his 2 years, got his AMT certificate, and then went to go work for Puget Sound Energy, working on the hydroelectric turbines. Never even wanted to be working on an airplane. But if you want to, so even if you decide that working on airplanes isn't for you, the certificate does open up a lot of doors for you because it gives you such a broad experience with so many different things. You learn how to work with tools, electricity, hydraulic systems, pneumatic systems, working in a shop environment, thinking creatively, using a bunch of different skill sets to do a lot of different things. It gives you a very broad experience, which is transferable to a lot of different applications. A lot of the people working for Sound Transit on the light rail have AMP certificates. People working down at Disneyland, building and maintaining the amusement park rides, AMP certificates. One of my students was offered a job as an elevator repair tech coming out of school. They ultimately decided to go work for a helicopter company, but they seriously considered going to work for an elevator repair company because it paid so well, and they were really actively recruiting this person. So it opens up a lot of doors for you. All right, next slide. Adela, do you want to talk a little bit about IBEST? When we're going through in the intro to AMT program and in your first quarter of AMT 111, there will be an IBEST instructor in the class as well. Adela, can you speak to that a little bit more?
Sure. So basically what that means is that there are two instructors, one that is focused on the content of the class, and the IBEST instructor acts more like I don't want to say a tutor because it's more than that, but that person can work with you on the vocabulary, specific skills, just kind of supporting you to ensure that you're successful in the program. One of the other things that's really important is that these cohorts, because that's what you guys will be, is a cohort. there have been a lot of studies that show that cohorts are very, very successful when it comes to academic success. So, this is a really good opportunity for all of you. Doesn't matter what your educational background is. It's just such a good opportunity because you guys are going to be able to support each other and help each other through. So that's really, those are the main points of iBest. So, and the instructor that's working with the cohort now is Teresa Romaneski, and she's just absolutely fantastic. So I think that, you couldn't get a better iBest teacher. So.
She's been working with aviation classes for a couple of years now.
For a long time, yeah. Yeah, she's awesome. Any questions on iBest or anything else? None, okay.
Okay, some things to think about as you consider the Intro to AMT class or the 2-year program as a whole. You want to think about how it's going to fit into your work-life schedule. Think about the work-life balance, money, how you're going to pay for it and pay your rent and eat all at the same time. There are resources available, but they don't always provide 100% funding. So it's good idea to see what you qualify for, what your options are. There are some things that come up during the 2 years while you're there. For example, while I was going through the class, I had a family member pass away, so I had to drop out 1 quarter, go help deal with that, and then I came back out of sequence, but I was able to come back and complete the program. But it's just something to prepare for, to think about. If you're unsure about the process or resources, that can get in the way. So one of the things we want to do in this Intro to AMT class is make you aware of all the resources that are available. So the more you know about what your options are and what's expected of you and what the outlook is going to be, that will help you make educated decisions about what you want to do, how you want to spend your time. It may not work for you, for example, to start spring quarter, but you may need to spend a few weeks getting some ducks in a row so that you can start again in fall quarter, which is what happened last year when we did this in winter quarter. Some of the students, they started right away in spring, but many others had to put it off until fall, and they started fall quarter, just this past fall quarter. And then one of the things that this Intro to AMT class will do is the more you learn about the program, the more you learn about aviation maintenance, it'll help you decide whether or not you really want to do this. I know for me, I took AMT, I signed up for AMT 111 at the suggestion of one of my flight instructors. I was taking flight instruction at the time, and he told me that taking a class in aircraft maintenance would help me be a better pilot. Well, I signed up for 111 and I got in there and I fell in love with it immediately. And I've been doing it ever since. So it does different things. It provides different things to different people. But it's just one of those things that I didn't even know was out there until I got into the class, and I was blown away. So much fun. So, and here's on the other side of the screen here are some things that you'll get out of the AMT, Intro to AMT class and the 2-year AMT program. At the end of it, you'll get a certificate. At the end of the 2 years at South, you'll get a certificate. If you pass all your tests, that gives you good pay, opens up some doors. You get good benefits. Some airlines will have travel benefits. This certificate opens up many options for employment. So if something happens and you have to move somewhere else that doesn't have an airport, you've still got your AMP certificate, which gives you all that experience, which is transferable to many other industries. And there's opportunity for advancement or specialization in the industry. As I said before, there are many opportunities to do whatever it is you want to do. There are jobs in the industry that work Monday through Friday, holidays and weekends off, or there are jobs that do shift work, evening or swing shift or night shift. If you want the pay differential, there are some jobs that offer a lot of field trips and what they call AOG missions, where an aircraft is broken in another part of the world. You fly out there, you fix it, and you're there until the airplane flies away, and then you come back home or go on another away mission. So there's contract work. There you can go into business for yourself. If you don't want to go work for a big company, you just start your own business. There are a lot of AMPs that do that. There are mechanics that have less experience than me that own their own shops and are working on airplanes, and they are their own boss. And or you can go work for an engine shop. You can go work for a component repair station. If you like working with carburetors, you could just set up your own shop and work on carburetors all day, or fuel injection systems. You can go to work for General Electric and build engines all day if you like working on engines. So there's a lot of opportunities for doing whatever it is you want to do. And you don't have to pick one. That's the nice thing about it. You don't have to pick one and do that forever. You go to work for a general aviation company for a couple of years, then go work for an airline on line maintenance for a while, go out to Pennsylvania and build engines with General Electric for a couple of years, go be a military contractor for a couple of years, go to work for Evergreen Helicopters for a couple of years. You can make a career out of just 2 or 3 years at different places, and you get a broad scope of experience and you get to see a lot of the world that way. So there's a lot of things you can do.
So if you are interested in the Introduction to Aviation Maintenance class, and just as a reminder from the beginning of the presentation, this is a class that meets Tuesdays and Thursdays from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. and starts on January 5th and goes until March 23rd. And as Sean said earlier, most of the class will take place by Zoom, and we may have a couple of in-person sessions. We'd really love to do that at the airport, in addition to the field trip to South Seattle College. So really the next step, what we're doing through Airport Jobs is what we're calling pre-enrollment. And some of you have already done this. It is to complete a just 2-page pre-enrollment form that is available on our website at portjobs.org, or you can always email me and I can send it to you directly. This just shows that you're interested. We get your contact information and make sure that you receive follow-up to know how do you get into the class on the first day. The second step is to attend an aviation maintenance info session, which you've already done. So check that one off. And just know that the full enrollment for the class, and then as Sean had said, becoming a South Seattle College student happens during the first week of class itself. And there will be some additional reading assessments and math assessments that are done in the class. It's just, I can't say enough how wonderful this class is. We are so excited to be partnering with South Seattle College again and the Port of Seattle to make this class available. It is a class for current airport employees, just to be clear, and former airport employees. And if there's space available, we might have some other space, but really our primary students are SeaTac airport employees, current and former. My name, again, is Stephanie. My contact information is here. You will receive email messages either from myself or from EJ Bravo, who is also on this call, or Ola Como. So we're the 3 airport university staff. And really our role is to work in close partnership with the South Seattle College instructors and with you, just to be your extra support. And the last slide, which I think I can access perhaps, and I'm just going to put these out, are just ways that Airport U is here to help you. And again, our goal is to provide the supports that you need to be successful. So obviously this class is on Zoom, so it's important to have access to a computer and internet. So if you don't, we will do our best to help you. We have computers that can be used at the Airport Jobs office by appointment. If you were looking for other options, we could connect you with low-cost resources and other ways to get a computer. If you have questions about what's happening in class, you can always ask your instructors. One of us will always be in class as well, one of our Airport University staff. So again, we're here again to share that information with you if you missed some homework, that kind of thing. We are here to connect you to resources. So many of you know us also as Airport Jobs. If you are looking for a job right now, looking for another job, please come to us and we can help you with that. We have other resources like low-cost health insurance and other things that are important in life. EJ on the call, I can see you, but I'm not sure if others can, depending on your screen. He is our career navigation supervisor. So just knowing that we're here as a resource for you if you need to do a resume, or if you're, again, are currently looking for another job or a second job, we're here. And then just one final resource. If you finish this class, we are so thrilled to have an investment from Alaska Airlines for the Alaska Airlines Airport University Scholarship Program, which is administered through our office at Port Jobs, Airport Jobs. And so, as Sean mentioned earlier, by completing the class and enrolling in an aviation maintenance program at a college, you will automatically get $1,000 scholarship from that fund to get you started. And then you can actually reapply in additional quarters for additional funding too. And we have a priority for aviation maintenance students. It's close to our heart. So just know, some of you have taken classes with us. Again, we're all here to support, and we're super, super excited about this class.